Are you looking for affordable office space in Marion? The Professional Building, located at 685 Delaware Avenue, is the place for you. For more information, call 740-383-6803. Office space is now available. Again, telephone number 740-383-6803. Hey, this is Scott Spears. Welcome to another edition of Scott Spears Now. This is the election build-up. We are taping this on a Sunday evening here in Marion, Ohio, battleground state, Ohio. A little under 48 hours, little under 48 hours away from the 2012 elections that are a big deal in Ohio on the local level, state level, and national level, with incumbent President Obama facing off against Mitt Romney, Republican governor from Massachusetts. We're going to talk about all that today and the Hurricane Sandy that swept through the eastern seaboard last Sunday evening. Joining me, a longtime broadcaster here in Marion, WCMH, WSYX, and WMRN, also a teacher in this area for many years. I know people remember her as Mrs. Stolarczyk, but I call her Mary Ann Michaels, the broadcast name, and of course a great friend of this program. I'm so glad she's back in Marion. She's been on with me a ton of times. I love it every time, and what more apt occasion to have the 40th Treasurer of the United States of America on, Mary Ellen Withrow. Thank you both.
Yes.
Always good to be with you, and this is going to be a fun one, I think. The election build-up, because I know, of course, Mary Ellen, people associate you with politics easily, but I know, Mary Ann, you've been very involved in politics over the years.
Yes, yes.
You know, I wanted to ask you this before we get underway. People know you work, you volunteer at the Democratic headquarters, and we've seen your politics be pretty liberal on our programs.
Mm-hmm.
When you were in broadcasting, did that ever show?
No, absolutely not.
See, I can't imagine, because it's so...
No.
Did you avoid political stories because of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Although I did cover some. In fact, Governor Reagan, I was at his, when he came to Columbus, and his wife, and I remember that. But no, in broadcasting news, you cannot be partisan. I mean, it just isn't right.
Did you ever have to bite your tongue? Because I know you have big opinions on these issues.
Of course. Yes.
Yeah.
But I was true to what a journalist should be, and that is I did not give opinions of whom I was going to vote for or what I thought about.
Well, I think that's good. I think that's good.
Yes, and that's the way it should be.
It is the way.
Now, there are, I know that, for example, Fox News is very much Republican. And MSNBC, I think, probably leans toward the liberal.
Yes.
Although I noticed that on MSNBC, when they have interviews, they have Republicans and Democrats on. And I don't know that they do that at Fox News. They probably do.
I'll tell you this, though, and just being in the media now, I try very hard. I don't consider myself a news person, but I try very hard to even it out when I'm doing something. Mm-hmm. But in this day and age, I don't know if you could be as impartial as you were back in the 70s and 80s, because any time you interview somebody, they cast it on you. I mean, they're ready now. I mean...
well, that's true.
I mean, I did an interview with Sherrod Brown, this political go-around, earlier on this season, maybe in May, and I thought I was fairly hard on him. But then I hear back that I'm too liberal. So I think it comes from both ends, and I like it best when people are calling me both things, Republican and Democrat. That's the way it should be.
It should be that way.
I think.
Especially if you're in the news.
Yeah, you should be.
Right.
Well, also, you want to get invited to all the parties. You want to make sure that you get invited to both. Who was it? Jim Lehrer said he doesn't even vote because he's afraid somebody's going to look over his shoulder and see what he's doing.
Yeah.
But his debate performance left something to be desired, I think, from both parties. I don't think anybody was very happy with him. Let's start here on the election, because we've got a lot to talk about on this program. I want to start, I'm only going to do one state issue, two state issues, but the one that I think has caught everybody's eye is Senator from Ohio, Sherrod Brown, Josh Mandel, Right now, the poll I saw today, could be wrong because there's 50 different polls out for everything, but the one that I saw was Sherrod Brown has a 4% lead in that election 48 hours out. The margin of error is 3.1%. Mandel came back from a fairly large gap. Mary Ellen, I know you have a background with this one. We saw the ad you did 2 years ago for Josh Mandel's opponent, Kevin Boyce, in the treasurer election in Ohio. He's the state treasurer. You were the state treasurer. What do you think?
Well, I tell you, I watched the last debate, the one in Cincinnati. I thought Sherrod did a very good job. And some of the ads that are on, that Josh Mandel has on the air, I do not believe are true. And I wish somebody'd do some fact-checking. I tried to do my own fact-checking, but I don't have people in the Treasury anymore that can verify things. So I don't know. There's some statements made there that sound pretty unreal to me. He started out, he said that he had the highest rating in the country. I cannot believe that. And they don't say that anymore. He said, the last one I heard, he said he had a higher, it was higher. It wasn't the highest. And of course there's been a lot of treasurers between when I was there and Josh Mandel. There's been at least 5, I think even maybe more than that, treasurers since I was there.
What, do you believe Sherrod Brown has run a good campaign?
Oh, yes, I do. Sherrod has done a very good job representing Ohio. He's worked hard on the things that he should work hard on. You know, he worked on the auto industry. He worked on the issue that was such a issue with the unions 2 years ago. And he's been a very good senator, and he's got all this background, you know, all the years that he's been in office. He was Secretary of State when I was treasurer, and in fact we've known each other since I was Marion County treasurer and he was in the legislature. And so it's been a long relationship, and I think he will win. I know that there's some points there that you're talking about, but I think Sherrod's going to win.
Mary Ann, tell me about this election. Which way is it going to go Tuesday night?
Oh wow, I think everything's close.
It's
It really
tightening
is.
up as we get there.
Yes, and I would never be able to predict who's going to win. I know who I want to win, but...
Well, tell us that. Tell us that. Give us that.
I think everybody knows that I'm a liberal Democrat, and so I already voted for President Obama.
Do you vote the ticket? Or do you vote the person?
No, I vote the person, and I have voted for Republicans in the past. I really have.
Okay.
I remember voting for the first Bush, President Bush.
Really?
I liked him. Yes.
Over would have been
I can't remember who was.
Dukakis.
Mm-hmm.
Dukakis.
Yes, yeah.
That's interesting. Have you voted Republican since then in the national? Or did you vote for Bush over Clinton?
Oh, no, I
Oh,
voted
okay.
for Clinton. No,
Okay.
I voted for President Clinton.
That's interesting. Mary Ellen, before we move away from this Mandel-Brown race, that ad is powerful. We've played it on this show. I know it's on YouTube. It has something like 20,000, maybe 50,000 hits. You said strongly 2 years ago that you were ashamed of the way Josh Mandel was campaigning. Does that hold true in 2012?
It sure does.
Same thing.
Yep.
It's a way to stand by it. I want to talk about Marion, Ohio here for a quick second in the presidential race because we've become a hub this year very nicely. Vice President Biden came to Harding High School about 2 weeks ago, had a rally. Mary Ellen, you did the Pledge of Allegiance. Give us the behind the scenes at Vice President Biden's speech. Was the mood up? Was everything fun?
Yes, everybody was very excited, and I got a chance to talk to him afterwards, and I think that it was very good that he came to Marion. I wish Obama would come to Marion. You know, I guess it's about over, so it's not going to happen. But it's been I think the campaign has been a very good one.
What was the reception from the crowd that day?
Very good.
Very good.
Oh, it was enormous. Yeah. I was so interested in the fact that it was at Harding High, and my daughter was there, and she happened to be just by accident right behind Biden on the stage, and so when it was all over and we were watching television later on,
I did see her.
Yeah,
yes, I did.
There was Linda in
she
the
was.
Yeah, and everybody was seeing Linda, so
That's
it was funny. Yeah.
Fun event. Do you get nervous before you have to get up in front of a big crowd like that?
Not doing the Pledge of Allegiance.
Other things, though, might cause the nerves to come out. Did it feel good being back in the fray?
Oh, of course. I love it. You know, I do.
You thrive in it.
Yeah, I do.
You do.
I think
that's
there's
great.
I think there's still something left for you to do, Mary Ellen. I think it's going to happen.
Oh, I don't know about that. I've enjoyed the campaign, though. Mm-hmm.
What are we all going to do in the next couple of weeks? We're going to have nothing to talk about. It's going to be over.
Quite frankly, people are getting very sick.
Yes, they're tired
the
of
whole
it.
thing. I mean, people really are. And even, you know, I'm getting to the point where, come on, let's stop, no more. And I have caller ID, and if I don't recognize the number, or if it's an unknown caller, I no longer answer the telephone. And I know people are getting very upset.
Mm-hmm.
And also with all the things you get in the mail.
Yes.
You know,
right.
people are fed up with it. They really are, and I'm one of them who is.
You know, I don't have caller ID. I wish I did, because I was telling them that today I got a call from Doris Day, and all of the people that have called, and then there's so many times there's no one there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
and
if
it's
they
a
don't.
voice.
Yeah, they don't. They don't. It's silence.
Nothing.
Yeah, and I don't think they start the rote in time.
Yes,
You know.
yes.
Yeah.
It's
But
very.
it's been, you know, we've just been pummeled with it.
Yeah.
And also the amount of money, and I've said this many, many times, on both campaigns, the money that is spent is obscene.
Mm-hmm.
Over
It's
$3 billion.
just obscene, and I think it's horrible. When you think of how that money could be spent on worthwhile things.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that if the Republicans spend this much, then the Democrats have to spend this, and if the Democrats spend, the Republican, you know, and it gets to be, I think that Supreme Court ruling
Mm-hmm.
for Citizens
Yeah.
United, and they said it was all right, that people could put anything amount of money they wanted to, and didn't have to say who it was.
Right.
I think that should be repealed.
I do too.
Really do.
Yes, they have talked about who is primarily behind the ones for Josh Mandel, which is Crossroads, and the Supreme Court I think made a big mistake there.
Well, I tell you what, since I wasn't going to get into this until later, but let's get into it. I brought the political ads that I've gotten in 2 days.
Oh, okay.
2 days.
Right.
Wow, I know
This
exactly
is
what
2
you mean.
days of
Yes.
political ads.
Yeah.
Now, look at
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
This
I
is
just throw them
Ohio.
in the waste paper basket.
It's
You know,
ridiculous.
and that represents a lot of money.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to take a look at some of
I
these
throw
because
them
I think
all
people.
in.
Well, yeah, they should go in the garbage. But let's take a look at what some of these are about. Ohio's problem: seniors in the middle-class families are struggling. Washington answer: Obamacare with $716 billion in Medicare spending cuts and a new
That's
health
not
care.
true.
No, that's
I
right.
didn't
That
write-
isn't true.
I didn't.
I know.
This
I
is
know
not
you did.
mine.
I
I
know,
know.
but I mean that statement is not true.
Well, this-
And it's been explained over
And
and
over
and
again.
they still do it.
I know.
That's the thing about the Jeep moving to China. It's
Oh,
untrue.
yes.
And they keep saying it over and
And
over, and it's a lie.
But you know something? There are people out there that believe
Well,
that.
of course.
They believe it.
Well,
Of course
here's-
they do.
I always liked it. Paid for by Americans for tax reform. That's where this one came from. And they take a shot at Sherrod Brown on this. They say Sherrod Brown's record Sherrod Brown voted for Obamacare's new tax on the middle class and cuts to Medicare spending that paid for the new health care law. So, and they spent a lot of money on this full-page junk.
And you know, I find it very interesting that this is the form of advertising everybody's using. This isn't what we used to use.
I know.
It's a lightweight cardboard.
Yeah.
They're all using it.
Well, this one's interesting. The schools have gotten into this. Tri-Rivers is putting out for their levy. I think that's a very nice thing, but again, you get tons of these in the mail for the levies. Of course, Romney Ryan, they're trying here, strengthen Medicare and Social Security, paid for by the Ohio Republican Party. And look at this. Now this is how dirty it can get. Barack Obama raided $716 billion
there you go again.
and a picture of a senior citizen.
Yeah.
That's a Romney campaign ad. Here's another one. Ohio, our economy is broken. Isn't that nice? Paid for by, it's always important to see who these are paid for by. Americans for Tax Reform. Apparently they've got some money. Now this is a big one too. This doesn't have to do with the presidential election. This issue 2. Boy, oh boy, they are spending the money on this one. Reminder in November this year, it's yes on 2. Vote yes on issue 2 to stop the next SB 5. Now, they never really tell you what it's about.
No.
But this issue 2 in Ohio, here's what it is. I've looked it up. What it does is give the power for redistricting to community members and not politicians. But now here's the catch on this thing. Politicians can be appointed to those boards who control the redistricting.
But it has to be even. It has to be an equal number of Democrats, an equal number of Republicans, and an equal number of supposedly independents.
Right.
Yes, of course, having been state treasurer, I was never on that board, but it's always a big factor in the elections because the auditor and the Secretary of State are on the, what is it, the word.
Yeah, the tax.
No, the
redistricting.
Redistricting. Yeah, that isn't what I was trying to think of. But anyway, and whatever party is in power gets to do that. Well, I said, who's behind voting no on issue 2? Because there's been some big money behind this, and it has to be the other party because they're in power now, so they have the redistricting. Now this changes every 10 years. That was false advertising on the other part because they said it was for a lifetime. That's not true.
Well, this is interesting because this one throws it out there and says you ended up with unfair districts because of unaccountable, dishonest politicians. But politicians can still make that board. This was paid for by the Democratic Party. I mean, you don't get as many from the Democratic Party.
Well,
I haven't.
Yeah. There was some point I was going to make. Now I've forgotten what it was. Anyway.
They took a shot at politicians on there.
Well, that's kind of confusing. I think people don't know enough about that.
Well,
they don't. But I think the fact. Well, I know what I wanted to say. They've got Marion split right down the middle. Now this is supposed to prevent that. This is supposed to have decent redistricting. So, I mean, it's done just so that people can't win. So that the other party, when they run for office, they can't win.
Oh.
That's the whole purpose of it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, and then there's, for people who are running, Judge Finnegan just happens to be in there in the last couple days. Now, listen to this. Here's one for you. Finish the job, vote Republican. Paid for by the Ohio Republican Commission. This is sad. When they put the older lady in the wheelchair and they put her on here, we were told everything about health care. The new health care law will affect us. Did they tell us how taxes would go up? Of course. This is interesting. Paid for by the Independent Women's Forum.
Never heard of that.
Whoever that is. Then we have, this is health care law again. Same group, Independent Women's Forum, whole different ad. This comes from the Democratic Party. My job is not to worry about those people. There's Mitt Romney. So he makes the ad rounds here. Then another word, Romney. Our economy has seen better days, an empty office building, voting for Romney. Now, this one, actually, Mary Ellen, your picture's on this one. I knew it. Yeah, Safer City, vote yes on 6. I've got 2 of those. One of those features Lowell Thurston when his building burned down.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one.
And the other one features vote yes when I call 911. I want to know someone will be coming. Picture of you and Jack Kellogg on there on those ads. Oh, I got three of those ads. The Democrats' big government agenda is hurting our jobs, paid for by the Ohio Republican Party. And then we've got, yes, we can work together to fix a broken system. Vote yes on issue 2, paid for by the Ohioans for Liberty.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, and think of all the trees that have to be cut down for all of this paper that's being used.
That's 2 days, Friday and Saturday. Isn't it amazing what we spend money on? And no wonder voters are confused.
Oh, voters are fed up. I think they really are.
The mail will get lighter.
Well, I have never heard so many lies. I mean,
well, I know.
That's the thing that is really bad. Yes.
Well, I want to get back to the. I'm through with those. That's one thing I am through. We can talk politics. I'm through with those.
I don't look at them.
Let's talk about the president here. And Mitt Romney came, of course, for those who didn't know. You're probably living under a rock, but Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan came to Marion 4 days after the vice president. Marianne, good or bad thing that he came? What did you make of it? What do you think?
Well, I think, this is a definitely conservative state. Don't you think, Mary Ellen?
I guess it is.
And it's
they
a conservative, and it's a conservative community. I mean, you go around and look at all the signs, the Romney signs. There are more Romney signs than there are Obama signs.
Yeah.
So I can see why. He came, and he probably had a lot of people there.
Well, he brought the Oak Ridge Boys.
Oh, that's the end of the Oak Ridge Boys, as far as I'm concerned.
They did. I'm sitting there because I went. I was sitting
realize that.
Oh yeah, I was sitting in the media area, and Josh Mandel was there, and he gets up and does his little spiel, and then somebody from the local party gets up and does their spiel, and then he goes, before we bring out the main event, Romney and Ryan, ladies and gentlemen, the Oak Ridge Boys.
Oh, I like that.
And I thought it was music. No, here comes the Oak Ridge Boys rumbling out on stage, and they sing Elvira. 5,000 people thinking Elvira, and I thought, this is a political? What is this? Which is kind of different, because I think tomorrow Obama's going to be in Columbus with Jay-Z and somebody else, and Romney's traveling with the Oak Ridge Boys. So figure that one out. Yeah. The end of the Oak Ridge Boys, huh, Mary Ellen?
Right.
It's interesting. Here's the way it looks. As we sit tonight, could change. Here's the presidential rundown. Strong Obama, obviously nobody's voted yet except the early ballots, but this is how it looks. In the Electoral College, which is how we're going to elect them. Right now, strong Obama, 210. Strong Romney, 191. 67 votes right now lean Obama, which would put him over the top by 7. 15 lean Romney, which still puts him far behind. The battlegrounds are where it's all going to be decided. 270 to win. What do you think, Marianne?
Oh, I don't know. I still think it's so close, and I'm just crossing my fingers. I don't know.
Mary Ellen, with that information, what do you think?
Well, it was, as far as I was concerned, Romney was picking up speed. It was after it was during the debates. It didn't seem like the debates, the second and third one, had much effect as far as Obama. But then Sandy came along, and it ruined the momentum.
Oh, yes.
And I think that if Obama wins, you're going to hear a lot of complaining about Sandy.
We've already heard it, and that's going to be something we're going to talk about before we get out of here. I want to run down. I don't think there are 11 battlegrounds. I think there are 10. They'll say 11, but I'm going to give you, as of today, as of Sunday when we're taping this, I'm going to give you the battleground, the projection, and then I'm going to come to you. Who's going to win the state? Here we go. Colorado right now is 48-48. What do you think, Marianne? Who's going to carry Colorado?
Well, I have no idea. I really don't.
That's a tough state.
I'm not familiar with the makeup of that.
Any thoughts
state
on Colorado?
Well, we don't live in Colorado. How can we judge Colorado?
By the percentage points, that's a tough, because it's tied.
Yes.
Do you think? I don't know. I don't know if Colorado is liberal or conservative. I really don't know.
I don't either.
They can be liberal. Was that where Pat Schroeder was from, Colorado?
I think it might have been.
Yeah. I always, this is way back. I always admired Pat Schroeder. And I have no connection with Colorado. I can't make a guess on that.
I'm going to run down the state, and I'll just give you where they are today. Iowa, 49-46 Obama. Wisconsin, 50-46 Obama. That is kind of a shock now because they thought that was going to be a toss-up. Looks pretty strong, Obama. Pennsylvania, Romney's making a last-ditch effort in Pennsylvania, but it's still 50-45 in Pennsylvania. New Hampshire, 49-47 Obama. Virginia, 48-47 Obama. That's tight.
Very tight.
North Carolina, Romney's still up, 49-47. Florida is pretty well a dead heat, 49-48 Romney, but they feel Romney's going to carry it.
Carry what?
Florida.
Florida.
I don't think so.
You don't?
No. I'll be surprised if Romney carries Florida.
I think the reason...
Because of the Social Security.
And I'll tell you something else. Clinton's been down there a lot, and I think Clinton's going to make a difference
He's a
for him.
great surrogate, isn't he?
Well,
right.
It's definitely not been in the toss-up. Do you think Romney's push in Pennsylvania will make up the 5 points?
They're really talking that this going to Pennsylvania is trying to throw everyone off. I don't understand that statement. I don't think Romney can take Pennsylvania.
It's a big loss.
Yeah,
big loss.
I don't think he's going to take Pennsylvania. No.
Nevada, 50-47 right now, and then let's come on home to Ohio. That's a state we do know something about. 49-46 Obama as it stands today. They've put that in the leaning Obama category, and the facts are this. You can look at that map any way you want with the Electoral College. If Romney does not win Ohio, he can win Pennsylvania, he can win Florida, and he can win almost every other battleground state, and he still will not win. It just leans too heavily the other way for Obama. Ohio really is where it's at.
Yeah, that's why there's so much activity between the two parties.
Right.
But remember this, Obama can lose Ohio, still win. There is still another way to get there. Obama can lose Ohio and Florida. But if he carries Wisconsin, Colorado, New Hampshire, and Virginia, he still wins.
Well, you know, when Bloomberg endorsed Obama,
Yes.
there's a lot of people that are in Florida from New York, Jewish people in particular. And I think the fact that Bloomberg endorsed him is going to make a difference, too, in Florida's vote.
Throw Colin Powell in there, too.
Well, Colin Powell, too.
And
but,
as well
yeah.
as Christie.
Yeah, Christie was a big help.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk about Christie here in a minute because this is a very... Now, Christie didn't endorse Obama.
Oh,
did he?
no, but he gave him a lot of...
people will get letters on that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't endorse
well,
him.
I don't... he
No, he didn't say that he...
No, but
Said
he
he's doing
was,
a good job.
He was
Right.
very kind.
He was kind.
And he
honest.
Yes, and he didn't have to be, but it was to his advantage. He's got a democratic state.
That's right.
He
Yes,
does.
Yes.
I think there's also something to be said that Michigan and Massachusetts, the state where Romney was born, Michigan, and his father was a politician, Michigan, and Massachusetts, where he was governor, aren't even on the table. They're both Obama states. Now, Massachusetts is always a Democratic
Yes.
state. Michigan sometimes floats. I mean, Michigan went for Reagan at one point. It has gone Republican
Yeah, but the
before.
auto bailout.
The auto bailout is where it is.
Right.
Will that fall into Ohio?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, because a lot of our companies, you know, manufacture car parts. They needed that bailout.
I think the question then is, why is Michigan a foregone conclusion, Ohio not?
Well, I think Ohio is going to go with Obama. I'm not worried about Ohio.
Well, if he wins Ohio, that's pretty well it. I mean, I think we shut the doors that night, and it's...
Well, you've got the top part of Ohio is very heavy Democratic, and that takes in Toledo. That's where your Jeep is. And then you've got all these car parts, as Marianne said, that are all over the state, down in Dayton and
Marysville?
yes, It's
I think
it's a big
Cincinnati is
help.
mainly Republican, though, isn't it?
Well,
The
there's
Cincinnati
a
area.
lot of Democrats in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
They've had a lot of Democratic mayors in Cincinnati. I don't know if they have one now or not, but in the years past, I've known a lot of Democratic mayors and their council.
Well,
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons, and maybe I'm wrong on this, because I'm not a student of politics, but I think one of the reasons Ohio is always up for grabs because we went for W. Bush twice, we went for Obama, we went for Reagan both times, we went for Clinton both times. It's a very toss-up state.
Yes, it is.
I think it's because where Michigan is not, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Indiana, which I can't figure out, are all strong Republican. And they're strong Republican this time. Indiana, which is squished between Michigan, Ohio, and Illinois, which are all leaning, well, Illinois and Michigan are Democrat, Ohio is leaning Democrat. What's going on in Indiana?
Well, the Senate race, the Democrat's going to win in Indiana because he's running against Murdoch that made that crazy statement about rape. Yeah.
Oh, that,
Yeah.
and you know, people are sending out endorsements. So Obama wins Tuesday night.
I certainly hope so.
Do you feel it? Are you nervous? Where are
I'm
we?
nervous. I'm
Percent-
nervous.
Okay, give
because
me,
I think it's tight.
handicap it for me. How confident are you that he's going to win?
I'm not as confident, I think, as Mary Ellen. I wish I were.
So you think there could be a President Romney?
I hope not.
I don't know. Mary Ellen, I know you're confident, and I know...
Yeah,
I don't,
I feel much better about it than I did 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, would you have been surprised if Romney won?
Well, I never was thinking that he was going to win. I was very nervous when I saw him gaining momentum. That's not good at
Yes.
toward the end of a campaign because
It is.
yeah, and who's peaked? I don't know who's peaked. I'm not sure anybody's peaked yet.
Do the polls mean anything? I mean, could we tune in Tuesday night and everything goes the opposite and...
Well, your polls are all telling you the same thing pretty much. There's not much variation in your polls, which tells you they're on the right track.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
I do want to get to Hurricane Sandy because we haven't got a chance to talk about that. I think 80% was the approval rating for Obama. They poll everything. He was
Yes.
a 80% approval rating on that. But Rupert Murdoch, who, by the way, speaking of the Fox News Network, owns the Fox News Network.
Yes.
Along Roger Ailes is in there also, but went to Twitter after this all happened and said this about Governor Christie. Christie, while thanking O, which was the Twitter thing for Obama, Christie, while thanking O, must redeclare Romney or the blame for the next take the blame for the next 4 dire years.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
That's from Rupert Murdoch,
Yeah.
Mr. Impartial Fox News.
That's ridiculous.
You mentioned Roger Ailes. Roger Ailes helped a candidate that ran against me, Jeff Jacobs. He was helping Jeff Jacobs back then, and so I have a special feeling about Roger Ailes.
You're allowed.
I'll tell you something funny. Here's a bit of trivia for you. Do you know what Roger Ailes' first job in television was?
I have no idea.
Producer of the Mike Douglas Show.
Oh, was it?
That's right.
Oh,
I
that's
liked
interesting.
Mike Douglas.
I did too.
And Mike
Very
Douglas started in Ohio, by the way. That's the
Yeah.
tie-in to that.
Yeah.
Started in
That's
Cleveland.
interesting.
And Mike Douglas said before he died, because Mike died about 5 years ago, that if Roger Ailes could make as much money doing the same thing on the liberal side, he'd do it. It's about money for him. It's a money
Really?
issue. Which, why is that?
Everything's a money issue.
Well,
Let's be honest.
Yes, I think, well, I don't know if I say everything. I don't
No,
want
I
to encompass
know, but-
everything. But why is it conservatives seem to be more willing to run to that television, to watch that show that's going to beat up the other side than liberals? MSNBC doesn't do as well as Fox News. Heavens knows, try to find a liberal radio personality who's marching. Why do conservatives have that, Mary Ellen?
Well, conservatives have a different feeling about life, I think, than liberals. I've always felt that you need to care about your fellow man. And I see it every day where they only care about themselves. And so I need to say no more.
That we'll leave it. Well, speaking of those conservative radio people, we've heard from the conservative television with Rupert Murdoch. By the way, Christie did not. I think he supports Mitt Romney. I think that's very well known. But he did not redeclare as they told him to do.
What do you mean, redeclare?
I think Murdoch, well, I don't know what...
He wanted him to say
I wanted to say
like,
again that I support Mitt Romney. Even though Obama did a great job, he wanted him to go on television.
Oh, did they? I didn't hear that.
That's the example of true leadership. True leadership. Obama and the Republican who was the keynote speaker for the person running for president, the two of them got together, they did everything they were supposed to, they cooperated, and they got things done. Now, to me, that's what government is all about.
That's right.
Well, here we go then, and this is also going to be what government's all about, because Mary Ellen alluded to this because of Sandy, that they're going to blame that on Obama's win. Are they going to fry Christie up for lunch, that he's the one?
You know, it'll be interesting to see what happens. He did what he thought was best for his state.
And that's right.
Yeah. Now, he claims he doesn't have any intention to run for president. You know, they can be pretty mean when you start thinking about running for president. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But I surely give him credit for what he did.
I do too.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you somebody who didn't give him credit, our friend Rush Limbaugh.
Oh,
this
that
is what
Rush Limbaugh. Oh.
Well, here's the quote. Get ready for this. Here we go. Rush Limbaugh on his show after Hurricane Sandy talking about Governor Christie. He's fat and a fool. Don't listen to Governor...
You have Rush Limbaugh saying Christie is fat. Boy, that's a...
It takes one
Boy,
to
it takes one to know
one.
I can't believe that.
Here we go. Let's get the quote out here. Limbaugh on Governor Christie. He's fat and a fool. Don't listen to Governor Christie. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Christie, the only Republican, not just praising Obama. It's a let's just put it this way. It is wrong. Is it wrong for one man to love another man? To love another man, but the man love out there is isolated in the state of New Jersey. Boy, Rush Limbaugh.
That is sickening.
Oh, and then he went on to say, he just plain out called him. He said he's a fat fool with man love. So there you go. Mary Ellen, what do you think of that?
You know, I don't understand how Rush Limbaugh can live through all these statements he's made.
Well, I can't understand people actually liking him.
I know.
And there are legions of people who think he is wonderful. And I mean, my mind can't even, I can't even understand that.
Well, is he a listen, I know he'd probably call himself a Republican, but isn't that what he is? I don't know. Chris Christie's a Republican. I don't think he's that vitriolic in what he says. What is Rush Limbaugh? Is he just an evil man? What is he?
Well,
I don't know.
He cares about Rush Limbaugh. That's
does,
who
and
he
he
cares
makes
about.
Millions and millions of dollars being an idiot.
But here's what
he gets away with it.
But here's what I do not understand. Okay, I remember when he attacked Sandra Fluke, and I came out against him against that. That was horrible, horrible. But as silly as it sounds, in a election year, women do tend to vote Republican or Democrat for whatever reason. So, okay, I understood why Republicans didn't denounce him. Christie is a Republican governor, a very popular Republican governor. They wanted him to run for vice president.
Yeah.
They wanted him to run for president at one. You don't run for vice president. They wanted him to be the candidate. He was the keynote speaker. They wanted him to run for president when they thought Romney wasn't going to hold up very well. Rush Limbaugh attacks him. Who continues to listen to Rush Limbaugh? You can attack Obama. You can attack Christie. Who's listening to this man?
A lot of people.
Must
a
be.
lot of people. He's making a ton of money.
But who's he appealing to?
That's what I'd like to know.
I
don't know how he could appeal to anyone.
It seems like it's probably, it should be the 47%, but evidently it isn't.
No. But you know what they are. I bet that 47% listens to him. It's a strange world.
Yes.
It is no longer...
I can't understand an intelligent person watching Rush Limbaugh.
But do you remember Michael Steele, the head of the Republican Party years ago,
Oh, yes.
was basically out of a job because he didn't agree with Rush Limbaugh?
Yes.
This man,
He has power.
He has power.
Well, I think
Yeah.
he's head of the Republican Party.
Well, that's what they say. Yeah.
well, he's not doing a very good job then if he's nailing Christie. I mean, you can call him fat and a pig, and
Well,
after
and
the
I
election,
love
whatever.
Christie's remark. He says, I'm not going to let politics in my life right now at this point when everybody is suffering so much. And I really applaud him.
Yes, I do too.
I didn't have
Yeah.
this in the notes, but since we've got your blood pressure up, Marianne,
It
let's talk
is
about
up.
Donald Trump. What do you think of him?
Oh, he's another one.
$5 million. Give me your passport. Give me your what was the other thing? Give me your passport. Give me your school records.
school
Yeah.
records.
$5 million. What do you think?
He just wants to be out there. He loves being out in the public.
Do
and-
you think he's really a Republican, though? I'm not sure if he's sabotaging them or he's sabotaging.
No.
Because listen, this man at some point had to be smart in his life to
Well,
be a
of course,
business.
he's a millionaire.
So he has to know that making a statement like that is going to give Obama momentum. That people are going to hate him for saying that.
Well, no, the people who like Rush Limbaugh like.
But don't you
him.
think their minds are already made up, the Rush Limbaugh people?
Well, but they're the same people that like Trump.
If I was an independent, though, and I heard that from Donald Trump, it would make me go the other way.
Well, of course, because you have some sense and some intellect.
Let's get that on tape. Can we make sure we have that? I'm going to replay that. I have some sense. I don't understand people like that. I don't get it. But
I
God
don't
bless
get it
Barbara
either.
Walters, who
Oh,
went on the
yes,
air,
yes.
and she said, Donald, I like you. We've
Oh.
been friends.
Oh.
I love you. You're making a fool of yourself.
Good for
Stop it.
her.
Well, I think what he wants to do is have the attention.
I think
he
so, too.
he will make a statement, and he'll have the attention for a while, and then it'll be quiet, and then pretty soon he'll make another
He
statement.
wants to be out there.
Yes, he's got to have his voice in the news somehow. Yeah.
Well, political discussions are fun, and boy, 48 hours out, it's even more fun. Before we wrap up, though, get rid of all this
Sandy?
junk. Well, have we talked about Sandy?
Well, I'm
Give
a little
me
worried.
a note on that while
okay,
I'm clearing the table
Well,
here.
I'm a little worried about some of the people voting in the East because of the lack of power. You know, a lot of places are going to have a rough time voting. They really are.
I read before I left here today that, here's one for you, Chris Christie said they can vote by email.
Oh.
Isn't that interesting? And there's something else they can do where they don't have to leave their home. Telephone. I think email
Yeah.
and telephone.
Well, I think there should be some special things
Yes.
happen
Yeah, I do too.
so that everybody can vote.
Chris Christie, I think, has turned out to be a decent guy.
Well, he is.
Yeah, but I don't think you would have said that.
I wouldn't have.
3 or
but
4 months ago.
I've got
But you
got
know,
a lot
that
of respect for him.
that shows character. And that's the thing about Romney that upsets me, is that people will say these outrageous things about President Obama, and he does not say anything
That's
about
right,
it.
yeah.
He just lets them say it so that people will hear it, but he's not like John McCain.
Yeah. You know what has
John
really
McCain was-
irritated me lately, too, is this statement that Romney's making about Obama said the seas will rise. I think it's dirty statements like that
Oh, I
that I
know.
think is so wrong. And the fact that when
Because
he was
it
in
is-
Michigan, he said, you know, this is where I was born, and he brought that up again.
Yeah, and
just,
at least
just to dig
and
Obama.
at least they're not asking me where I was born.
Yeah.
For my birth
And
certificate.
those are not statements
No,
that he should be
it
making.
shows a lack of character, is what it shows.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I think I can go home now.
Yeah.
I'll let this conversation continue. But it's true. This is a heated time. And Mitt Romney, I don't know. I think everybody's done something bad this election season, but I am so tired of
Well,
that
what
birther nonsense. I don't
am
want to
too.
hear it anymore.
And what I think is interesting is, you know, he was against FEMA, Romney.
Oh,
Romney.
yeah, that's right.
And you saw pictures of him saying, I
Yeah.
will get rid of FEMA.
Yeah.
And now FEMA has been in the news. Without FEMA, those poor people would really be
Yeah.
in.
And I'm going to say this. I know the cold wind will come for this statement here, but that I understand Romney said that about FEMA. I do, but I don't want anybody to publicize this hurricane. I mean, just what people said. Let's get the people put back together.
That's true.
I mean, I
Well, that's
understand, But I mean, I think that point is made for political gain by Obama at this point. Whoever's doing it.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
who's
right.
putting it up.
Yeah.
They're saying, look
Well,
at...
he didn't make the statement. It was Romney that made the statement.
Yeah.
I know, but if...
Somebody
Yeah.
brought it to the attention.
Yeah,
of
but somebody
people.
made sure to bring it to his
Yeah.
attention with 3 days left. I guess that's all I'm
Don't
saying.
blame Obama for that.
No, I'm not blaming Obama. Well, here's what I truly believe. I think Romney and Obama, both of them, probably go to church on Sunday and donate to charity and do
Of course they
fine.
do, and they're good
And
people, both of them.
But I think sometimes this stuff gets by them. You can't fact check everything or what your people are doing out there. I mean, sometimes you just have to record your voice and say this is approved on a presidential it's a little crazy. But I want to end on a fun note because woo, the blood pressure is flying in here today. I want to talk about things people can spend their money on in election season. I got a box of these because of this show being on the internet. These came, can you believe this? They're called political poopers.
Oh, my.
There's Mitt Romney. Little political pooper Mitt Romney, and there's Barack Obama.
Well, at least they're not being partisan.
They're not being partisan. They're right down the middle. You can go get these if you want to online. They're still selling them. Can we get a close-up on our political people here?
Now-
Oh, yeah, that's a good shot. Now, here's what they do. I've got little Mitt and little Obama here.
I hope this isn't what I think it's going
Well,
to be.
here's what happens. You wind these things up. I don't know where they came from, but here you go. You wind them up. There's Obama. And red, white, and blue candy. The things... zoom in on that. And we'll get Mitt here going.
I think everything's reached a new low.
Isn't it? This is what people...
Yeah.
This is what people put out, and there goes Mitt Romney. That's what people spend their... Oh, Mitt Romney fell over. That's what people spend their money on.
Oh,
And people will buy this 100 years from now. Remember those T-shirts, I'm with Nixon, that had the... This is what people buy. What do you think when you see something like this, Mary Ellen?
Well, I think it's very degrading. I don't think they should have things that are degrading.
it is degrading.
That's our president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think people do this?
Well, to make money.
Yeah.
Why else would they do it?
But people love stuff like that. They
Well,
do.
isn't that the strange thing is that people like these
They
novelty
do.
gifts?
They do.
I mean, it's the strangest thing. And when this company said them, I thought, what are people doing? I mean, honest to goodness. But this is a legitimate product that I wanted to show.
Well, I'll tell you what. This time next week,
Yeah, we'll all know.
we'll all
know, and it'll all be over.
It'll all
Yes,
be over.
Right.
It's been a fun conversation. Heavens knows it always is, and it gets heated at election time. Thank you, ladies, both for coming in.